Hi, my name is Rainer Josvik and this is part 2 of the series of demos of the Lisp machine, user interface and development environment. In this part you see a little bit more about uh, developing small pieces of Lisp code and how you move around and get help. And there is one certain style of development I will show. So you have in this style of development mostly one window on the screen at any time, and you switch between these windows. Switching between windows is relatively easy, so select E will get you an editor, select L gets you back to the listener, select Ctrl L gets you another listener, select L gets you back to the listener, and select E to the editor, select Ctrl E to another editor, select D gets you to the documentation. So switching between these windows is quite fast because the windows are buffered, and well, you could also click on the windows if you see parts of them. So let's look what this machine currently has loaded. Show Herald will give you some information. So it's a Mac Ivory 3, and now we see lots of software and some patches. So you could edit such a definition, but we would go, for example, to show a little bit about the HTTP CLIM system, which is a system in version 50.2. Clicking mouse middle would now show the system definition of this HTTP client. So I do mouse middle, and you see system HTTP client is defined in this file. Version 50.2 is currently loaded, and this version is also released, and such is a typical patch file. Patch file are incremental patches, so the next patch file would create the version 50.3. The system is delivered with sources and binaries. It has a system declaration file, it has some modules, which are subsystems mostly, and then you have files in the system. So this file in version 0.9 compiles to this function in version 0.26. Means the Lisp machine file system has versions, and it remembers all versions of all files. So if you change some file, it creates a new version of this file, and if you have a system, it remembers which file versions belong to this system. So which is quite nice. So let's look into our editor. We will start with a little Lisp demo, doing some little graphics, also showing what kind of interesting effects you can get with the listener when you develop some graphic stuff. Not very sophisticated, just to get the demo. Okay, so we say we have Lisp mode. Yes. We set the Lisp syntax, so the Lisp machine can run several Lisp syntaxes at once. So you have the old Common Lisp versions, you have Zeta Lisp, which is not Common Lisp, and you have the latest ANSI Common Lisp. Set package, future Common Lisp. Now control question mark something will give you a list of choices. For example, future Common Lisp. Actually, I didn't want to use future Common Lisp. I want to set package future common list user is the right one. We're saving this file. So this is a typical list machine path name. Okay, the file is saved. So there's a dev class for my line, and we have a few slots. So you see the parentheses are blinking. Clicking on the parentheses also gets the other one blinking. Double click. Mouse middle selects the whole expression you are pointing on. So something like this. So the nice thing is you type like something like make instance, and when you have very complicated lines, you could just control middle click on the name and it gets inserted. So for example, if I want to copy this dev class, I have it here. So typically you would write a function like define foo, and you would need some symbols here. You could just click on these symbols and assemble your code together, which is also a very nice style if you have long complicated names. So I delete this. We are compiling this with a keyboard command, Ctrl-Shift-C. Plus class myline is compiled, means we can make instances of it if we are in the right package. So you see we are probably in the wrong package. You get an editor. Well, we want to get back to the Lisp top level. What are the commands with Lisp? So we want to set the Lisp context. Set Lisp context, and we want to have NC common Lisp. I press completion and then I get this choice. So this is the one, set package. The package is future common Lisp completion again, future common Lisp user. So now we have the package. Let's see if this will work. No, because it remembers the form, and you see we typed it in a different package. So I will just abort, make instance my line, and now we get an instance of class myline, and we can describe it. Middle click, and you see this is this object. Select E gets us back to the editor. Init arg x1. So you remember middle click, middle click, middle click, y1, y2, sorry, x2, 2. Control Shift C compiles the class. So means we can do something like make instance line x1 40, y1 30, x2 200, y2 150. Let's describe this and you see the slots are set. Select E. So we have the possibility to create objects and set the slots, and now we want to draw a line. How do we draw a line? I don't know. So we ask the documentation, show candidates, draw line. So on the top right frame comes up a choice of graphics draw line. Click left, it loads the documentation, and you see it has lots of options. So the interesting thing is the documentation has examples in it, and the examples are runnable. You see mouse left, run documentation example. I click on it, comes the window up, and the documentation example runs. You see that all the stuff that might be interesting for you is mouse sensitive, and you could, for example, get more information about drawing functions. So you see draw line just takes the coordinates and we're done. Switching back to the editor, we write a little function, draw my line, so graphics draw line, select D, so just ordinary arguments, select E, slot value my line x1. So you remember control middle, gets you more of these, and we just change it to y, x2, y2, control shift C compiles it, and the function is compiled. So try it out, go to a listener, draw my line, and we take this line. Well, you see nothing. Why is that? Well, the question is, where did it draw? Can look up, and you see the line is here on top of the window. So we want to draw it somewhere else. For example, there where the prompt is. And for that there is a special command which is with room for graphics. Show candidates with room for graphics. Choices are here. Graphics, left click, you see the documentation. Well, basically it's a macro and you're done. So we do it, select E, go to the editor, look at the documentation again, select E, graphics with room for graphics. Control Shift A gets the arcs, so that's it. Middle click, and we are indenting the region. Control Shift C, draw my line compiled. Listener, try again, and there it is. Well, we could change the coordinate system also, but for now it's enough. So we were able to draw a line, and as you can see, the stuff is recorded. And if we go to the editor again and the listener again, stuff is still there. So another interesting thing is, you probably heard about presentations. We create a presentation. How we do that? Show candidates with output as presentation. So DW, dynamic windows, with output as presentation, gets the stream and the object and the type. Well, the stream is probably the standard output, so we need the object and the type. Select E, DW with output as presentation. Object is my line and type is my line. Probably, I don't know, we will see. Let's compile it. Okay, it's compiled. So you see there's a line. Now we can ask for a line. DW accept my line. Enter a Lisp representation of a line. So what would be a Lisp presentation? The graphics itself. So here it is not presented as a line, but here it is. Click on it and you have the line object, as you see. So trying it again, it can't print it. We just resume. Okay. So you see objects can get made mouse sensitive, and you can associate graphics output with objects. And well, just to give an example, select E, we want to draw many lines. Define example 1, optional n is, say, let's 100 lines. Group repeat and do draw my line, make instance. So x1 is random 50, y1 random 50, x2 random 100, y2 random 100. So we are moving the with rooms for graphics out of this, put it here. Okay. How do we indent something? Control H is not a defined key. Well, we just undo. Yes. Indent region. Control Shift C compiled. Select indent region. Control Shift C compiled. It says it contains seven forms, so that's right. We made a mistake. My line. Okay, compile it again. Function example 1 is compiled. Example 1. And you see there are lots of lines. And we say SCL accept my line. Okay, just proceed. And you see all the lines are mouse sensitive. Okay, so we have this special line. So this line is remembered nowhere, just in the graphics output, and just by trying to ask for a line and pointing on it, you get the object back. So I hope this gives you some example what you can do with the editor and with the Lisp listener, and how you find the documentation, and how you would develop in this style, switching between those windows. Okay, that's for now.